start, especially in this particular topic is concerned. So we'll go to the topic itself, especially then. So this contents of this particular topic, I'm going to tell you is the introduction to the livestock production, number one, then livestock production systems in India, then types of the livestock and their features, then sustainable livestock husbandry, integrations and role of the Ethiopian agriculture or Indian agriculture. So the introduction to livestock production, there are the varieties of the terminologies are also there. We need to learn them in detail. In future also we need to learn them one by one. And the especially some of the terminologies, especially are the apiculture is the science of the bees and beekeeping. Then the beef is the meat from any type of the cattle. Then beekeeping is an art of keeping the bee colonies for the humans or the men's economic benefit. And chawan is the meat of the goat. So multiple choices questions will be definitely there, and you should know that chawan is the meat of the goat. Then the domestication means adoption, the behavior of an animal to fit the needs of the people. Especially, it is using the animals for the benefit of the humankind or the kind of the people. So, hence we need to uh, show by the benefit of the human beings only. Then we are going to have the animals. That is the system especially. So apart from this one, the mutton means meat of a sheep. These are all very basic things, of course you may be knowing. Even then, just to recap very fastly, we will go. The pork means it is the meat of a pig, or the poultry, all domestic birds kept for the purpose of human food production. Poultry, maybe a chicken or any other birds. Then shout means that's the common name of the goat or the sheep. Then the swine means it's the common name applied to any animal or the pig family. Family. Okay. Then swine, as you know, it's the another name of the pig also. Then livestock are the domesticated animals sustained in the agriculture setting to provide the labor and produce commodities such as meat, eggs, milk, fur, leather, or the wool. The term is sometimes used for refer solely to the animals who are raised for the consumption, and sometimes used to refer solely to the farm animals, especially farm ruminants means cattle, sheep, goat, pigs, etc. Farm animals or farm ruminants means cattle, sheep, and goats. So horses are also domesticated in India and also in the United States and many more states. So the USDA classifies pork, veal, beef, and lamb. It's also called as the mutton as livestock, and all livestock are red meat. So this is the thing. Especially red means it also includes the pork, the veal, beef, and the mutton or the lamb. So these are all the things. And poultry and fish are not included in the red meat category. So they take the red meat only to the products of the livestock or and also the pigs. So hence you should know the different terminologies used in the livestock production and management. Coming to the most basic thing, what's a livestock production? So that is the technology applied to the keeping up of the animals for the profit of the human being. Profit of the human being is concerned. Hence, one need to see that these animals are totally for the domestication of the human beings, not for any other one. And animal husbandry is consisting of sometimes the true false question may come. Animal husbandry is consisting of the breeding, maintenance, slaughter, and general subjugation of the livestock. So, husbandry practice means not only the rearing, but it also includes the breeding, then maintenance, then slaughter, and general subjugation. So, general use of the livestock, maybe for the wool, etc. Then also it's a part of modern agriculture and has been practiced in many cultures since humanities has uh, got the transition to farming from hunter gatherer lifestyle. Then the domestication of the farm animals is the process where the individual species have been altered to create breeds with characteristic more desirable to human needs, especially for the more desirable to human needs, especially human needs, what we say is. Hence, one need to show that the animals are always there for the human needs. Then, coming to the another very peculiar situation, that is the okay. Then, when domestication of the farm animals started, is uh, they are started a long back, and domestic animals can be defined as they are kept and bred in and around human habitation. Then, primarily for only for the human advantage, the animals are not reared for any other situation than that of the human advantage, only for the human advantage, nothing more than that. And the domestication of the began, especially as early as the humankind they developed in this entity is concerned. Then uh, they all always what you call as the domestication is only for the purpose of getting the food from the animals, also for transportation and many more human related work. And domestic means adopt the behavior of the animal to fit the needs of the people. That's the thing. And these the roles of the livestock in development, etc. may come, and what are all the constraints of the livestock which are already there. And there is one multi-functionality role of the livestock, especially in the cattle, sheep, goat, and pigs. Even though they are rare for the humans, then conversion of low quality feeds into high quality feed, especially the ruminants. So ruminants are the sole animals which convert the roughage and cellulose or hemicellulose and lignin to either milk or the meat. Hence, about 80% of the human population of the world gets most of its protein, then fats, especially in the form of the lipids, iron, niacin, and some vitamins, especially vitamin B12, has to come from the meat only, and especially from the ruminant animals. So, hence, 80% of the earth population is dependent on either animal or animal products, or directly or in the indirectly in the form of the meat, milk, and egg. And then source of the clothing is also another purpose why the animals are being reared. So the livestock provide the clothing and also the fibers. Then the skins for production of the clothing material, especially the leather is used for shoes, belts, gloves, clothing, as well as for the other products used by the human beings, as you know it very well. We also wear the belts, the purses, then also the gloves. Nowadays, the gloves are most of them are the synthetic or the plastic in nature, but in still many countries, the leather is one of the most cheapest covering to the human beings are concerned. And another thing is the source of power, not in the form of the electricity, but draft powers, especially. And the animals used are the oxen, the donkeys, and horses, and also to some extent the he buffaloes and she buffaloes also. In India, the even he or she buffaloes are also used as the draft animals and source recreation of entertainment and also the tourism value. So the horse trading or also the turf clubs and also jellikattu and the kambala. All these are the games and the poultry are also used for gaming and betting in India and many other countries. Hence, they are also very commonly used for the human entertainment and also the tourism value because especially in Himalayan region where the vehicles cannot go. The horses, the mules, and donkeys they are used for the transport purpose. That everyone know it very well. And apart from this one, they are also source of many of the uh, drugs and also the other domestic products. Then, especially they are used for the manure. One of the most important thing is the manure, and providing the manure, they are serving directly to the Indian agriculture is concerned, and it's a fuel source also. Manure is used very commonly as a fuel source, and the dung of the animals are dried and they are used for the firing purpose. Approximately 8 to 12% of world's population depends upon dried manure as the source. So there are multiple choice questions. Then you have to tick that dash percent of the world's population is depending upon the animal husbandry or the manure is 8 to 12%. And apart from this one, fuel for the electricity. In some countries, the fuel for the electricity, then the gases, especially cooking gases, which is containing the methane, then heating built from the biogas plant. All these are the other benefits of the animal husbandry, maybe using the dung. Then others like stabilizing farm economy used as safeguard prestige values more than 100 drugs as on date, maybe more also by the human beings for the medical purposes are made from animal byproducts starting from the catgut what you have heard to use suturing materials of the internal organs and also certain other byproducts like the blood, then also the plasma, then horns, then nails, etc. So they are used as the drugs or any other materials used for the human ornamental purposes. And apart from this one, the inedible fats in a cattle or a pig are used for production of many cosmetics, the soap industry, then lubricants and printing ink. These are all the other ingredients which can be used very well by the livestock. Then challenges in the livestock production systems are very very high, of course, but we are trying to tackling all these by step by step. Let us see what are all the important challenges are in the countries. Number one is the animal nutrition, then the animal health, and third one is the animal genetics. So the animal nutrition is very well known to everyone. Without any nutrition, the animals will not survive. And apart from this one, the health of in the individual animals need to be maintained by the veterinarians, and hence the veterinarians are appointed. then animal genetics or the breeding, which is used for animal conservation, then getting a new breed of the animal, then also to conserve the indigenous, non-indigenous animals of very good genetic potential, including the buffaloes, sheep, goat, pig, or whatever it may be. Hence, the challenges are here, the health may be deteriorated, there is crossbreeding is there, then there is malnutrition may also be there, and these are the constraints for livestock development. And recently what the disease, you know that the lumpy skin disease has got a very severe economic impacts. Of course, it reduced the production to the extent of 10 to 15%, and also the death to the highest extent of 10%. So, number one, very firstly, what we can go for is the animal nutrition is concerned. Then it's also called as the feed source. What we can say is the feed source, and especially the lowland pastoral areas available for forage is deficient in quality and insufficient for the number of grazing cattle, especially in India is concerned. The farm land is not suitable for growing any good either forage or a grains, or also for the agriculture purpose. And this situation is further aggravated by low outtake of the livestock. That's why there is, if natural feed is available in the form of the green fodder, of course we can meet the cattle's nutrition requirement to the extent of 30%. There is no problem for it. Whereas the mixed crop livestock farming system of highlands, increasing population pressure and demand for cropland has been diminished areas of the grazing and also the crop residues. So we are going to have a lot of crops residues, maybe the sorghum, maize, jowar, paddy, and apart from this one, the leaf of many trees, we are going to have them as the agriculture waste or the byproducts, and also the agro-industrial bypass products. And apart from this thing, the industrial products, especially the biscuit industries, where then breweries, etc., they also throw out certain nutrient values. Of course, they may not be so much nutritious, but they are useful to some extent. And these type of these systems are not adequately used in India. And of course, the livestock are the animals which can utilize these things and convert them into the either meat or milk or the eggs. Then the another factor in which there is a hitch is the animal health. So livestock production is reduced by high incidence of the varieties of the diseases, and the death occurs maybe due then the death occurs due to so many factors, and there is a reduced growth rate. So the lumpy skin disease or the foot and mouth disease, and these are not only affecting the cattle at the moment, but also in a long term high cost of this control and poor quality of the finished product, and the residual effect of certain things, especially the bacterial or the viral load. So there is direct loss and indirect loss from this disease, and also some diseases the death rate is very high, then cattle get vanished, and especially they become unfit for the traditional animal husbandry sector in India and many other countries. The control of these diseases, the communicable diseases or the disease which can spread very fastly from one animal to another animal, maybe a viral disease, a bacterial disease, even protozoan diseases, etc. So these reduce the returns to a farmer very drastically, and can expect from the livestock expectation from the livestock production is totally decreased. So this is also another hitch. Then we are unable to export our products to the other countries because the diseased animals products are not accepted in the international standards. So generally a number of attractive markets in the developed world don't accept animal products from our country due to the potential hazards of the diseases. So we have got the foot and mouth disease, we have got the rabies, we have got the brucellosis, then also many hematoprotein diseases for which the meat or the milk are being not accepted by the international community, including the milk with lot of antibiotic residue and also increased somatic cell count. That's what they think. Whereas the third important thing which inhibits the animal husbandry growth in India is the animal genetic factors. So we have very high livestock population of the starting from the India, Ethiopia, and whatever it may be when compared to all the countries. But we do not have the quality cattle. That's the very important, which is growing. India is number one in production of the milk, and almost uh, are especially the cattle of India are crossbreed, and the native breeds are not very well being sustaining in India is concerned, whereas we have indigenous breeds as well as the crossbreeds. As you know, the crossbreeds are the Jersey and HF. We have got the buffaloes. Then also we have got the other animals to the very less extent, the camels, or to the extent the sheep and goat and other things. Very commonly they are there, but their productive potential is very very low, including the countries. And when we compare to the countries like the Africa, Ethiopia, Zambia, Uganda, and many more countries, so there also the same problem exists, and we are unable to recognize the inherent genetic potential of our own cattle with, due to the poor management, which prevents the full expression of its genetic capacity. It also applies to our Indian breeds of the cattle, especially the cattle of Indian origin, and also the even though the crossbred cattle cannot express their full genetic capacity because of the poor management and also the poor nutrition, poor disease management capacity, and also the poor hygiene, especially the milk, and also due to the poor slaughtering technology that also hinders our country a lot. But nowadays we are improving the all these technologies, adopting the modern scientific animal husbandry practices, and also it is percolated to the farmers level. And we need to see that the India also grows to the highest extent, and we will also come up to the levels of the expectation of the Western world. So then there are two systems. There is a production system. Then there are a lot of different systems are there. So the livestock production system is the diversity of India and other things are there. Ethiopian this thing topography. Then these two these are there. Especially here you can see that major production systems are pastoral or agro-pastoral systems are there, then mixed crop systems are there, then minor production systems, and sometimes the urban contribution to the production of the milk, or there are landless laborers are also present in the city areas, and also urban and semi-urban areas they are there. And based on the integration of the livestock with crop production in India, about 28% of the Indian economy being contributed by the livestock sector, and we also contribute a great to the Indian agroecology is concerned. And many millions of the people are having the job opportunities due to the livestock sector is concerned. Then the extensive or free range scavenging system is there, then semi intensive systems are there, then intensive system of the livestock rearing is there, and based on their intensity and management, we can go for any type of such type of the systems. And in view of this thing, the animal husbandry practices in India have got uh, certain constraints of lack of land, grazing land. Number one, there is no grazing land invaded by the human habitation. Then also the some of the part of the developmental works, then factories, then residential areas, these big cities. All these are hampering the animal husbandry practices in India. So the pastoral and agro-pastoral production system are the systems in which pastoral system is, as the name indicates, the different agroclimatic zones are present in different parts of Karnataka also, like the central zone, then southern zone, etc. are there. Agroclimatic zones are always, sometimes they are too dry, or sometimes some of these northern part of the agroclimatic zones do sustain the crop production, and the water system or the water availability is also very very less. Hence, these are characterized by little or no crop agriculture and high mobility in search of grazing, water, and also the food. Still, many Indian cattle do have the nomadic in nature because the non-availability of the very good fodder systems. So this happens especially in case of Ballari area, where in which the shepherds and also the cattle heads are being transported from one district to another district, like the Gadag area, the Kapatagoda area, etc., being grazed by the cattle of Ballari area. And we know that the areas where the dry land is there, there the grazing cattle face a lot of problem, maybe including the sheep and goat is also like this. Then, so there are certain conditions, the pastoral systems are there, and especially the Indian rural whole livestock consists of the cattle, sheep, goat, and sometimes the donkey. Then also the especially in the Indian system of cattle rearing consists of the crossbreeding after the Operation White Flood, and the camel etc. are contributing less, but whereas the other countries like the Arab countries, camel is also a domesticated animals. Then sheep and cattle in this system, they are very well adopted. Indian system of the cultivation of sheep and goats. And apart from this one, the Indian system of rearing the cattle also includes certain birds like the emu birds, then also the backyard poultry like Giriraja and Girirani. Then, in case of drought years, the goats gain more importance as suppliers of the milk to the household only in northern part of the Karnataka, etc. But recently, the drought problem is being eradicated of or being reduced, especially in India is concerned. Hence, we need not bother much, especially of this availability of the water, etc. So, goats, they are very good browsers. They are also very good conversions of the feed efficiency. They have got very good feed efficiency. And apart from this one, goats and sheep are called as the mobile ATM of a farmer. Indian economy is concerned, then they play a very important role is concerned. And also sometimes the thorny bushes are being controlled by the goats because they vanish whatever they think available, and many times the forest people always curse the animal husbandry, which is being the culprit of vanishing the forest. Of course, once again some people say that the Indian cattle are contributing to the greenhouse gases, especially the carbon dioxide and also the methane, as you know very well. These gases are majorly produced by ruminant animal during the mastication process. But the contribution of the greenhouse gas is very limited. It is about 17%, whereas the greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane are also contributed by the agriculture sector to the extent of about 24%. Then about 25 to 28% is contributed by the vehicle exhausts, the industries, and many more. So, when compared to the other pollutants which are contributing a lot to the greenhouse effect, the role of the livestock, when compared to their beneficial effect, it is less. That's what I can say. Then the pastoralists depend upon the livestock not only for their income but also the survival or the grazing cattle. And nowadays, apart from the grazing cattle, stall feeding cattle is also there. Then the scientific cattle production is having emerging nowadays, but still there is lot of risk of low income. Then the livestock management is becoming very difficult because of the labors. It's a labor oriented one of the occupation. So, because of the labor occupated and also the non-availability of the very good quality food and fodder, it's also one of the constraint everywhere throughout the world, that especially in underdeveloped countries. We do not have very good quality pasture wherein which the cattle can easily grow, and the especially the nutritional cost is reduced to a greater extent. That's what I want to say in this junction. So then the agro-pastoral system is not very well developed, especially in case of India, and the crops or its byproducts are always used as livestock production systems. So whatever the human is being wasting as not useful for his food, it is being consumed by the cattle, and they produce either very good meat or the milk. And apart from this one, all their byproducts, starting from the what you call as the horns, then the bone, then the intestines, and the dung. All these parts are used for either one or the other beneficial system to Indian agriculture or the industrial purpose. So the livestock producers, they have got a permanent and consistent income from the livestock is concerned, and especially the nomadic cattle have got the advantage that they need not invest very much, but some labors are required, and they are moving from one area to another area. So there is the cattle are very much required for the human survival, and especially in this earth. And not only cattle, the animals are very much required, and the risk which is involved here is varieties of the diseases, and sometimes the ticks also cause lot of risk to the cattle, and we need to minimize this type of the risk. So because this type of the tick infestation or the endoparasiticides like the trematodes, cystodes, or helminths, they reduce the quality production of the animals. Then the economy of the feeding system need to be improved a lot, and socially important. It should be made sustainable, especially for the dry lands. So it's not a problem so that the wetlands or the irrigated lands, whereas the dry lands like the Kalaburgi, Vijaypur, and some parts of the Chitradurga, then Yadagiri, etc. There is acute shortage of the fodder. When there is a no rain, then most of the cattle are either given for the slaughter, or they are migrated from one area to the other area. Then there is one system called as the integrated farming system with that of the crop production. we, the Indian farmers and the farmers of Ethiopia, Africa, etc., they are interdependent, the agriculture and animal husbandry, because one is complementary to the other system. So the producers under this agro-pastoral system, they have a permanent residence and their movement is limited in terms of both distance and duration. Of course, the shepherds still they try to wander here and there in search of a very good grass for their sheep or goat. But almost all the large animals are stall fed nowadays, and uh, their movement is being restricted. Whereas the sheep and goat, of course, it's called as the zero investment livestock farming. So only investment is the farmer or a person who is in the interest of having the livestock rearing. He need to have especially the good quality fodder, or else if we is depending totally on the concentrates, then the cost of milk production or the meat production goes high, then profit of margin drastically it reduces. Then this type of the system is characterized by a high degree of dependence on the milk and meat production. Only two marketable products in India are number one milk and number two is the meat, because we are top one in the earth nowadays for the production of the milk. Number two, the China comes, and because we have got very good crop agriculture system in especially the permanent residential of a human being, then the very low input group, even a person without any land, they can adopt the animal husbandry practices, because the crop residues or the agricultural residues are under the use for the cattle. So, hence, even in India, where very high rainfall is also there, then the rainfall, even though it leaches the soil, etc., but indirect it supports the crop production once it is when it is in case of pastoral system. So the mixed livestock systems are always a common system now. Mixed livestock systems are there, and we can say that the mixed livestock system always the this middle class people or the people with medium economy, they are always doing this, especially the mixed crop system and also the mixed crop plus livestock system. And in the livestock, they are also going to rear few of the cattle, then sheep, goat, and also the pigs. Hence, we need to focus on this area is concerned, as it becomes the one of the inevitable practices of the animal husbandry is concerned. And some of the time what we say is they are the integral part of the Indian livestock or the lifestyle, especially the cattle husbandry is there. So hence the human being is domesticated for the farm use, especially Indian system of the animal is farm system. Then, so the domestication of animals began when early human beings conducted the domestication of the dogs. As actually, in the initial stage, they tried to hunt the wild animals. Then they are later they are domesticated by the human being, and else we can say that without the animals we are unable to do the animal husbandry practices. So the domestication of the animals it has started from thousands of years ago, which is a very relevant area, where in which we can say that the domestication started as and when the human race started, because the dung is the one which is very much required for the grain production throughout Indian scenario is concerned. Then many people do adopt the integral farming system, where in which a perennial crop is there, then livestock system, just like sometimes the coffee growing areas do also have the livestock system, but of course the coffee or its products are not used as the food stuff to animal, as they do contain certain toxic elements, and also they are not palatable to the cattle. And livestock play an important role in food security and food self-sufficiency in the production. Before independence, the per capita milk consumption was about 50 ml per person. Now it has been increased to the extent of about 350 ml of the milk per animal, because per human being, because we are number one, especially in case of the milk production, whereas we are also number two or three, especially in case of poultry rearing system. Hence, we need to do it more seriously, and it also gives an income to the farmers for the livelihood, and also savings and insurance of their own mechanisms are there, especially in some states of India the insurance systems are there, and few states it is not there. Then it is the need of the day that if a farmer is having a lot of problems, then the government need to support them. That's all the policy matters. Then there are urban and peri-urban or landless laborers. Many of our cattle cultivators are the landless labor without any land, or they are doing some labor, especially in the people with higher income group. Then they also start adopting the animal husbandry system, which is adopted by the rich people. Nowadays anybody can rear the cattle, sheep, goat and pigs with certain inputs. So that the especially the feed sources and usually household waste, market area waste, then mill leftovers, especially the de-oil rice bran is a mill mill leftover product. And also sometimes the animals are going to graze on the roadside. We have seen many of such scenarios, especially in the peri-urban areas. So the livestock do dependent on the grass, maybe of whatever it quality, or also sometimes the quantity may not be sufficient of the particularly this system. Hence we need to look towards this, especially the uh, either a high input or high output, or low input or low output systems are existing. So the free grazing scavenging is very very less in India is concerned, whereas it is little more in the countries where lot of land is there and the human population is less. Whereas in the Indian scenario, we have got very less areas for the grazing of the cattle, and the people are crazy and they have invaded the entire forest area for the either livestock or for many other purposes, as you know very well. And the the commercial systems also, then there are varieties of the systems like the extensive or free ranging scavenging system. Scavenging means wander wherever the cattle want to go, or it can be shifted from one area to the another area. Hence, substances and or semi-substances pastoralism is always benefit, but whenever there is a constraint of the said system, especially pasteurization, then it becomes very difficult. So the commercial, usually commercial fodder production or the fodder crafts is very much needed in these days. And the another thing is the semi-intensive systems are always there. In this system, animals are restricted to the limited areas by putting a certain type of the fence if he or she can afford to have it. So usually the animals do have the sedimentary crop agriculture utilization system for the cattle production. So the intensive systems are there, especially some of the few youth, especially every government is giving lot of support for in the form of the subsidy and also in the form of the infrastructure creation and also creating a fixed marketing system in the name of the Karnataka Milk Federations, through which the federations are being operated or being added by different milk unions. And the apart from this one, the skilled management system is very much required because a milking person, if he or she suddenly changes, then it is impossible to get the milk from some of the deshi cows, not all. Then coming to we need to define the role of ruminant animal, then monogastric animal, then aquatic animal, then terrestrial animals in the Indian animal husbandry systems. Of course, the ruminant system is very well understood by everyone, whereas the how we can utilize the monogastric animals like the pig, which is one of the most profitable if you do it in a systematic manner using a quality abattoir and also using certain words, especially the aquatic animals, the fishes, then also the terrestrial animals. Terrestrial animals like the birds, etc., may also be grown for the human consumption. And coming to the types of the livestock and also their features. So there are a lot of difference between the ruminants versus monogastric animals. So these animals are classified into two types of the capacity based only on the especially the digestive pattern. But the people are surprised to see that the digestive tract itself is totally different from one ruminant to the another. The ruminant, of course, all of them have got cattle, sheep, goat, and pigs are the assets of India. They have got their own the landline or whatever it may be. Then the communication is easy. Whereas the classification of the mainly based on the digestive system may not be sufficient sometimes. Hence, the because if you classify them as the ruminants or the non-ruminants, it's okay, well and fine. Whereas a ruminant which is reared as a pig, non-ruminant as a pig or any other animal, especially then the digestive system is totally different because the ruminants do have a very specialized stomach. They are called as the four stomach compartments. There are components, not like the simpler tubular uh, organ, but apart from this one also, the ruminants the highest organ. Then the animals who have the liver, kidney, spleen, then also the omasum, then also the abomasum. For example, the sheep and cattle are very much what you call as the very commonly used in the Indian system of the livestock. So here we have got the cattle, then also the buffalo, and the sheep, goat, and also the extent, especially cattle, sheep, goat, and pigs are the common domesticated animal. But among the ruminants, the cattle, then sheep and goat are the important animals, including the sheep buffalo, because in Indian system about 50% of the milk is contributed by the animals, maybe the buffaloes especially. Later, the crossbred era started, and the drastically the system is being become the monoculture. Like the people are rearing the cattle, but not interested to rear the buffaloes in Karnataka state itself. Whereas it is totally different in northern part of the India. Then one of the characteristic feature of the ruminant animal is they can convert one of the most what you call as non-nutritious material into the very highly or palatable, and then uh, the it can provide the nutritional factors to the starting from a kid to the geriatric patient. So the swine and poultry are also described as the simple stomach animals. Ruminants have unique digestive system. So this allow the bacteria to act on the certain fodder with the influence of the neutral to little alkaline pH 7 to 7.4 pH is always maintained, and this is very much required for the growth of the microorganisms which are present in the rumen. Then we'll continue the class in the next thing, because the time is about to over. Then especially the Indian system of the agriculture.